Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of How To with Mia and Ziad. If you aren't already following us on all of our social media accounts, the handle is the same for all of them. It's at Gerber Kawasaki. Gerber like the baby, Kawasaki like the motorcycle. But today we are going to be talking about estate planning. So what is an estate? Why is it important? What's probate? Why do you want to avoid probate? What's a trust? What's a will? How is it taxed? We're going to be getting into all of this. But remember that none of this should be taken as personal advice. If you have questions about your specific situation, please ask your financial advisor.
One of the most overlooked aspects of your financial plan is your estate plan. What are going to happen to your assets when you pass away? What we want to do today is just talk through some basic concepts around estate planning and what you can be doing to make sure that your assets are getting to the people they need to get to as quickly and efficiently as possible. Let's get into it.
All right, so first and foremost, what is an estate? An estate is everything that you own. It's basically a comprehensive evaluation of your net worth, which is a combination of your real estate properties, your securities, your cash, and any other assets that you own. Estate planning is important because it specifies where all of these belongings will go once you pass away. The person who inherits all of these assets is known as the beneficiary.
One of the biggest reasons you want to have an estate plan is to avoid what's called probate. Probate is simply just the legal process in distributing your assets once you pass away, determining who's going to be receiving which assets, how are they going to receive them, all those kind of details. It is a very lengthy legal and financial process. There tends to be a lot of administrative fees attached to it, and one of the worst parts about it is the fact that it can be contested. Even if it is designated that assets are supposed to go to a certain person, an individual can declare that those assets were promised to them instead. And this just further lengthens that legal process because you have to go through the courts and determine who actually deserves those assets. It's the biggest thing you want to avoid. It helps save costs, it helps save time. And so having those documents in place, having other pieces in place to avoid this is essential.
Okay, so how is an estate taxed? The federal government imposes a tax on a descendant's estate based on the value of the estate at death. Funeral expenses, charitable contributions, and debts will be deducted from the adjusted gross estate and determine the taxable estate. The federal estate taxes are levied on assets in excess of $11.4 million as of right now. $11.4 million is the lifetime gift exemption. There's an exemption also to these taxes known as the marital deduction, and that's when your beneficiary is also your spouse and is a US citizen. Then you can transfer an unlimited amount without having to deal with federal estate tax. The executor of the estate can also choose to value the assets in the estate as of the date of death or as of 6 months after. This is especially helpful when the assets in the estate have dropped significantly in value since the date of death.
Two of the most common pieces for setting up your estate plan are wills and trusts. So what are they? Wills are documents and instructions for how your assets are to be distributed. It generally designates a specific individual who is in charge of distributing those assets. The big downfall with wills is that it is public record and it still can be contested and go through probate. So while it is good for defining instructions on how your assets are to be distributed, there still is a potential for a lengthy process. Now, the other piece that you can use are trusts. So trusts are similar. The biggest benefit of trust is that it allows for a much more seamless transition of assets. It explicitly states who the assets are going to and how they are to be distributed. It is private record and cannot be contested. It does not go through probate. And so while it is good to have a will, we definitely want to make sure that we have a trust in place as well. Now, diving a bit deeper into trust, the two major kind of trusts that you can set up are a revocable trust or an irrevocable trust. The major difference is that with one, you can change the stipulations within it, while the other one, the minute you set it up, it's set in stone. So with the revocable trust, that is the one where you can shift around the instructions within that trust even after you set it up. You can change who the beneficiaries are, how the assets are to be distributed, or even how much assets are to be distributed. Now, the flexibility is really nice. The one downfall with the revocable trust is the fact that it will be subject to estate taxes. Now, with an irrevocable trust, everything is set in stone the minute you set it up. But the big benefit there is you will have a bit more tax benefits. Generally, it does avoid estate taxes to an extent. And so weigh your options when you do set this up. When you are setting up trusts regardless, you want to make sure you are sitting down with a qualified estate planning attorney.
What are transfer on death accounts or TOD accounts? Transfer on death accounts or TOD accounts are the simplest way to keep your assets held in a brokerage from becoming subject to probate. Ziad earlier explained why probate is the worst. TOD accounts are available for most types of paper assets. They require no additional legal work, which is their main benefit, and it states the beneficiaries, and while the owner is alive, they can change their beneficiaries. Hopefully by now you've started to grasp why estate planning is important. Basically, the bottom line is it's important because you want to make sure that your money is going to where you intend it to go after you pass. You don't want the court deciding that for you. To further state our case on why estate planning is important, I'm going to name drop a couple celebrities that you may have heard of. Howard Hughes, for those of us especially living in LA, you probably know Howard Hughes Parkway. He was a record-setting pilot, philanthropist, and film producer. He wanted to leave $2.5 billion to medical research, but he didn't have a valid will, so it ended up getting split between 22 of his cousins. Prince died without a will, which is called dying intestate. This caused a messy and very public battle. Michael Jackson created a trust and then never funded it. This, once again, caused another great probate battle. So don't make the mistakes that these celebrities did. Cut out time and reach out to an estate planning lawyer and talk to your financial advisor about how you should set up your estate plan. Make sure that your family is taken care of. And that concludes another episode of How To with Mia and Ziad. I hope that you enjoyed it. Of course, if you have any questions, you can always give us a call at 310-441-9393, or you can DM us on any of our social media accounts. Handle is Gerber Kawasaki. You can also just comment straight on this YouTube video and we will make sure to check it out and reach out to you. If you have any suggestions of videos that you want us to do in the future, let us know. We want to cater this content for you. And with that, I hope that you have a great rest of your week and we will see you back here next Wednesday. Bye guys.
Have a great week, everyone.